All right, everyone. So I hope you guys are able to see me. Am I audible and visible?
Yes.
Hi, Sabir. Welcome back once
Yes,
again.
sir. Yeah.
All right. So great. So basically, we are starting this new batch for CCNP in core, right? So you just want like a lot of people having a demand to just have a discussion with me, like how this is going to be course curriculum, how we are going to start this batch and all. So because of that, I just started this batch. Still, we will plan this batch probably in morning or evening time, or not the same time, unless we have the very urgent requirement. But yes, definitely we'll discuss on that. But today is just a session where I'm going to demonstrate how the career path is going to look like for the CCNP, especially for the enterprise requirement, where ENCOR NRC and SD-WAN is going to part of the very demand in the market. So if you really want to become a CCNP engineer, how your roadmap is going to look like and what are the key things you have to keep consideration in your mind. So that's why I'm here, and we're going to discuss about the CCNP ENCOR, right, program. So we are launching this program for those who already completed the CCNA and they are struggling to understand the next generation networking, like advanced routing, advanced next generation switching concept, right? How it is going to integrate wireless concept, how other SDN concept is going to look like. So I'm going to cover those all things. But before that, we have to understand how Cisco roadmap is going to provide the certification career path for every engineer. When say anyone, like if you are just planning for go for the any certifications, how your journey should be look like, and what are the having the most demanding skills in the markets. So those I'm going to cover, and definitely I'll discuss the benefits of the Encore, right? What are the key things I'm going to cover in the Encore? What are the my key expertise you have, right? I have, and also you guys are going to understand the depth, like in core, why it's known as the bible of the networking. Means if you are not doing the in core, that means you are missing a lot from the market, because in core is one of the certification. It's a mandatory. If I'm saying mandatory, that means it's a mandatory to learn how the next generation networking is going to work. It's mandatory to understand how my SDN concept is going to look like. It's mandatory to understand how my automation is going to look like. It's mandatory to understand how my basically any AI integrations, like basic fundamentals, how it is going to be used in the networking. It's mandatory to understand how the wireless concept is going to look like, SDXS concept is going to look like, VXLAN concept is going to look like. You are not going to become a champion for the in core for the all technologies, but you are going to learn everything in a depth, where you have the fundamental knowledge for the all technologies. So that's why in core is very important, and I believe everyone should have the good understanding about the in core, right? So let's just start. Before I start, as usual, I would like to ask with all audience any questions you have any in your mind. You can ask in Hindi and English. I don't have any issue. And I believe in class also everyone is good with both language. So अगर किसी को हिंदी में पूछना है, feel free to comfortable, right? Ask in Hindi as well. If you want to go in English, there is no problem for me. I'm very comfortable with both of language. Any questions anyone have, or shall I start? All right, so raise your hand, ask your question. Let's start this session. So again, most of you already aware about me, myself, Pankaj, right? And having a 16 plus year of experience in networking and security and SASE solutions, and working as a consultant for the organizations where key responsibility to design, deploy, and like help in the troubleshooting for the large scale of global teams. And also I have a passion to deliver this training. So still I love to deliver the training, where I just key expertise to deliver training for the SD-WAN technologies, CCNP ENCOR, CCNP ENARSI, and also for the CCI, CCNA, and Palo Alto firewalls, Checkpoint firewall, FortiGate firewalls, Cisco FDT, Zscalers. So you name the technology, I believe I will try all my training technology, whatever available in the market and available in the market training technology. I will try myself to be ready for that. But recently, the trending technology are the Palo Alto firewall, FortiGate firewall, Zscalers. So that's why I'm very much comfortable. Along with that, wireless F5 load balancer and CCN and CCNP. So you can ask anything with me. There is no problem, and I'll always be happy to answer those concepts. But today's session is going to be more about the CCNP ENCOR. So why CCNP ENCOR and what are the key fundamentals you should know about the CCNP ENCOR? What are the key benefits we have in CCNP ENCOR? And who should do the CCNP ENCOR, that we have to understand. Before I jump to the CCNP ENCOR, guys, I need to start doing discussion about the career roadmap, right? So basically, because we are going to enter in the 2026, so we basically have to understand how the any certification roadmap is going to look like. So you guys can see my board. I'm not sure it's visible or not. Is it clear, visible to everyone? All the letters in the screen?
It's little bit blur. Yes.
Little bit blur, okay. Let me try to make it okay. Hold on. How I can just exit from there. Hold on. Let me, this browser is put for the desktop. It's not coming option to exit. Okay, let me see. It can be, hold on, guys. Okay, I'm getting some option from top. Yeah, that's fine. So let me zoom it, okay? Instead of making the full screen. So you guys have the, it is visible? Good? Now? It's clear bit or still not clear?
Little bit is clear, little bit.
Now? Now it's clear, right?
Yes, it's clear now.
Okay. So anyway, so we have to understand how the certification roadmap is going to happen. So we have to understand Cisco official certification roadmap, how this certification roadmap is going to look like, and what certification roadmap you should have to follow. So initially, if you want to plan for your journey for the networking, so very first certification as per Cisco, that is basically known as the entry level of the program, and that is known as a CCST IT support, CCST networking, CCST cyber security. These programs are the very entry level program. Means you have the passion to become a IT technicians for the support role. You want to become the networking technicians for the networking roles, or you want to become a cyber security expert. You have to plan your journey from here. But to be honest, in India, nobody is doing these certifications, and nobody is doing this kind of learning, and even none of the institute is promoting these courses. So what is happening, right? How the course curriculum is happening. So basically for anyone, let's suppose you have a plan to start your journey in the networking or the cyber security or even the firewall technologies, you always have to think, give me 1 second. You always have to think, right, from CCNA point of view. This is the one thing where you are going to get the basic networking concept. Means I'm talking the basic networking concept. You are going to learn about how the LAN infra is going to look like, how the WAN infra is going to look like, how even the your IP addressing is going to look like, how it is going to use, how the routing, basic switching, and also AI and automations. So CCN itself have the networking fundamentals. It also going to talk about the LAN WAN concept in very detail. It's also going to talk about the your switching concept, routing concept, AI, that is generative AI is integrated in the CCNA program. Why it's mandatory? Because if you are not going to learn generative AI nowadays, that means you are going to be behind of the market. Means every engineer who is just planning their career in the networking cyber security, they must have the AI fundamental knowledge, and this course has been integrated in now CCNA syllabus of the Cisco CCNA syllabus of the Cisco. And at the same time they also include the automations. Means how, what is the key fundamental of the Python injections, how basically it is going to look like. So those things also integrated in the CCNA program, and the exam code is going to be 20301. It's absolutely, you can do the certification CCNA. It's very recommended, and you should start the certification for CCNA. But in India, I have seen even the Asia Pacific countries, people avoid to do this certification. Why? Earlier, if you want to become a CCNP engineer, you must have to do the CCNA. If you do not have the CCNA certification, you cannot go for the CCNP exam. You cannot go for the any CCNP exam. So that was a problem for the initial stage, but now it's not mandatory. If you are planning for the CCNP enterprise, right, you can directly skip, means you can skip this, you can directly go for the certification. Means CCNP enterprise, CCNP in core certification, you can directly go for there. So most of the engineer have the good fundamental of the CCNA. They know how the LAN and WAN is going to be configured, how basically the subnetting concept is going to look like, how wireless concept is going to look like, how my switching concept is going to look like. Then they save money because it's also going to be cost around 300 to 350 US dollar. So if you want to save your money, you can directly go for the CCNP, and you don't have to do that. But prerequisite, you should have the CCNA level of knowledge. Means CCNP, if you're planning to do that, nobody is going to tell what is the networking fundamental, what is the router, what is the switch, what is the bridge, and how the IP subnetting is going to be configured, and how you can calculate the subnet mask and all. It is not going to cover. So every fundamental is going to part of the CCNA. So if you are planning, you just go for the CCNA, then you go for the CCNP. At least you read this syllabus, you complete the your like training plan. Similarly, there is cyber security plan also. Cyber security CCNA, cyber security, you have the plan. And also if you want to do the automation, you want to become the complete automation engineer. So Cisco recently launched the program that is known as a DevNet Associate CCNA automation program. That is a 200-901 Dev ASC, right? This is the program that has been launched by the Cisco. So if you want to become the CCNA automation engineer and you want to become the CCNP automation, CCI automation, you can go for this particular track. So we are not targeting as of now. I'm just assuming everyone in the class have the right CCNA knowledge and they are planning for the CCNP. So let's discuss about more about the CCNP, how the track is going to look like. Okay. So if I talk about the CCNP, you see here in CCNP, this is the entry level of certification. This is entry level, very entry level, and hold on. This is going to be entry level, entry level. This is going to associate level, and you have to enter in the professional. So we are targeting the professional level of certification. In this professional level of certification, what is going to be happen? You have to become a CCNP engineer, then you have to clear this core exam. That's the core exam. CCNP ENCOR 350-401. And it's also mandatory. If you have a dream to become a CCI engineer, if you have the dream to become a CCI engineer, this exam, this is known as a CCI written exam. CCI written exam. So you have to clear this exam. Your written is going to be cleared. Then only you are going to apply for the further CCI exam. The expert level of exam, here you can go and apply that. I'll show you. But this is the first step. Means you just have to do this CCNA. And you can choose any of the exam from the below list. Why? Let's suppose you have a dream to become a CCI. You can skip this all, no problem. You directly complete CCNP in core and go for the CCI exam. But if you have to become the CCNP enterprise engineer, if you dream to become a CCNP enterprise engineer, after CCNP in core, you can do with the CCNP ENARSI, right? You can do with the Cisco SD-WAN as well, right? And also you can go for the automation and other like data center we have, wireless we have. But generally for the enterprise engineers, if they are planning to become an enterprise engineer, they go for the NRC. This is my NRC exam. So here you are going to get the all networking fundamentals, all networking concept. Here you are going to get advanced routing concept. Means if talk to the advanced routing concept, you are going to become a champion of the BGP. You are going to champion of the EIGRP. You are going to champion of the OSPF. You are going to champion of the DMVPN and fundamental of the MPLS. It's not included in the syllabus. If you want to become a champion of the MPLS, it's not included in syllabus. But if you are going to join my batch, it's complimentary. I will cover the MPLS from basic to advanced. This is my commitment. So I will cover these all things because it's very important. And then you have the full-fledged knowledge of this NRC. Means If any scenario is going to come for the BGP, you can easily configure that scenario. If any scenario coming from the EIGRP, you can do that. OSPF also, DMV pin also very important. What is the phase 1, what is the phase 2, what is the phase 3 tunnel, how it is going to be configured. And the MPLS also, what is the RD, what is RT, what is the LSR, routers, how LSP is going to be created, how the level switching is going to happen, how VRF is going to be created, how we can exchange one VRF route to another VRF route. Those things we are going to cover. If you complete these two things, this is my recommendation. Every network engineer must have to do that. This is my recommendations. If you're not going to do these two things and you are planning to just start with SD-WAN solutions, right? This one, okay? So if you are going for the SD-WAN solution, I believe SD-WAN is what is the exam code for the SD-WAN? Sometimes I confuse. I believe anyone know SD-WAN exam code? Uh, I believe this one is going to be there, 300 and 440. So there is a SD-WAN also. You can skip this NRC, you go for the CCNP ENCOR, and then you go for the SD-WAN exam also. But the problem is you required some good routing inform means good routing concept, means at least you have the BGP concept, at least you have the good static routing concept, and then OSPF concept, because these three protocols are going to use as a underlay in SD-WAN as well. So my recommendation always happens, you go for the ENCOR first, then go for the NRC, and then go for the SD-WAN. Even you are not going for the advanced routing and you are planning for the SD-WAN, you can go that. But these three protocols, you have the basic configuration understanding, and then only you can understand, because SD-WAN have the quite new everything. The protocol is going to be new, the way of working is going to be new, and the entire configuration is going to be new. So if you have these three certifications, CCNP, ENCOR, NRC, and the SD-WAN, you almost going to be become 85 to 90% CCI. Almost you're going to become. Because if you go with the CCI, they are going to use your advanced routing concept. Almost 60% is going to be routing switching. 60% syllabus is going to routing and switching, and that is going to cover ENCOR and RC. Rest 40% is going to be SDN concept, means 40% SDN and automation concept. So it is going to be SD-WAN is going to cover. What left? That is, there is SDN have two things. One is the SD-WAN, another is SD access. So SD access is basically known as the SD LAN. So this is not covered in this module, right? You want to learn, then you have to go for the SD access syllabus, and that is going to be separate module. So CCI also include this one also. And also they are going to include some ICE concept, wireless concept also, WLC. But this WLC is going to cover. Might be ICE is not going to be covered, but WLC is going to be covered. So at least you are going to get 80 to 90% concept here, 10% network automation, SD access, and ICE is going to part of the further next level of the certification. If you're going for CCI, then you can do that. But this is how your roadmap is going to happen. But now let's talk about the CCI. So you can see, if I am going for the expert level of certification, CCI, you just focus on here. In this CCI, expert level certifications, again your concept is going to be the prerequisite. The CCI, we have the enterprise, CCI enterprise wireless and CCI wireless. Where is like, hold on. Yeah. So we have to focus this exam. Okay. CCI enterprise infrastructure means if you have a plan to become a CCI, you have to go and complete this exam. CCI enterprise infrastructure. This is known as the CCI enterprise infrastructures. So EI, sorry. This is known as the EI. And prerequisite, you have to clear this ENCOR exam, and then you have to complete the lab one for CCI. And this is going to be 8-hour exam. In 8 hours, you are going to get 2 hours for the written and 6 hours for the lab. continuous lab you have to go, and you have to book the slot for the any location, but cost is going to very high. It's going to be 1600 USD, plus you have to accommodate your means you have to manage your accommodations, flight ticket and all, because that's only one center in the India, that is a Bangalore. One more thing, guys, even you're going to clear this CCNP ENCOR exam, you are going to eligible for the CCI wireless. There is no written exam for CCI wireless. Only CCNP ENCOR is the prerequisite. So you can understand the power of the CCI, I mean CCNP ENCOR. CCNP ENCOR is going to make you eligible for the world highest certification, that is the CCI wireless and CCI like enterprise infrastructures. So that's why ENCOR is a very important. Now, if I talk about the ENCOR, what you are going to learn in the ENCOR? If I talk in very detail, what is the you are going to learn in the ENCOR? So ENCOR, I'll come to the course content, but let me tell you what ENCOR is going to cover. So CCNP. In ENCOR, you are going to learn about the network architecture. Sorry, it's not working. Hold on, let me open my slide only. It is going to give the better view. Hold on. All right. So I'll talk these all. There are the total 6 modules is going to happen, and it's very powerful modules. You are going to understand network architecture. That's the first thing. After network architectures, you are going to get understanding of the virtualizations. This is the virtualization, network architecture, infrastructures, network assurance, security, and automations. If I show the syllabus, I can assure you 80% of you don't have the right skills for this CCNP ENCOR. 80%, or I can say more than 80%, almost 90% engineers, which all are available in my class, they not have these all skills. Why? Because if you're learning for the CCNA in old fashions, where you have to just CCNA basic routing, basic switching, you are not doing any CCNA new syllabus, like where wireless is there, automation is there, you never going to understand. Even if you have done the CCNP in the past, where the CCNP route, CCNP switch, CCNP T-shoot, these all are new for you. What is only going to relevant for you? This one, infrastructure. This infrastructure only going to contain your routing and switching. That only this topic is going to be there. And also this routing switching is going to very basic, very basic. It's not deep. You are not going to understand deep of the BGP. You are not going to understand deep of the OSPF. You are not going to understand deep of the EIGRP. Just fundamentals. How basic neighborship is going to be built, how basic configuration is going to happen. Because if everything deep is going to cover in these infrastructures, you not require the CCNP NRC. Why CCNP NRC is designed for you? Because you have to learn everything deep in CCNP NRC, and you have to learn basic foundation of this CCNP, like routing and switching. Switching is going to be detailed. Switching is going to be detailed, like how the port path is going to configure, what is the STP, what is the MSTP, and how the port channel you are going to build, VRRP, HSRP, not VRRP, HSRP is going to part of this particular syllabus. Those are going to be there. Switching is more, wireless is more, but routing is going to very less. Okay. Architecture is going to like basically explain how your network is going to look like. Basically, your network overall architecture is, it's going to cover your SD-WAN architecture concept. Not the lab, but it is going to cover SD-WAN architecture concept. It's going to cover SD access concept. It's going to cover your 2-tier and 3-tier architecture. It's going to cover your leaf and spine architecture. Means every architecture concept, means this architecture is going to cover. Means how my wireless network is going to look like, how my basic SD-WAN architecture is going to look like, how my SD access architecture is going to look like, what my data center architecture is going to look like. So those all is going to cover in this architecture module. And trust me, this is the completely theory module. but it's going to very helpful to clear your interview. Note my word. Because nowadays, if you are going for the any interview, the interviewer are going to ask the architecture, next generation architecture. It's not going to ask the old generation architecture. And if you don't have the architecture knowledge, how the modern enterprise can be designed, how modern enterprise can be operate, how modern enterprise can be troubleshoot, you do not have any kind of the troubleshooting skill, configuration skill, and design skills. So you must have to at least understand the network architecture, and that CCNP in core is going to cover in depth. And that's all theory, no practical. But at least you understand 360 view, how basically my data center network look like, where I can place my firewalls, how my leaf and spine architecture means ACI architecture is going to look like, why basically we use SD-WAN technologies, what is the key component of the SD-WAN technologies, why basically we use the SDXS technologies, and how we can place the SDXS solutions in the enterprise network. So if you want to learn, that is going to part of this architecture module. Virtualization is going to cover how my network can be virtualized, because everyone is talking about nowadays cloud based solutions. They are talking about the private cloud, public cloud solutions. So what is a private cloud, what is the public cloud, how we can configure our devices and solutions and integrate our servers in public cloud, and if I want to integrate the same solution in my private cloud, how it is going to be designed and architect, and how we can place the servers, that all part of the virtualization. We have to do some labs, and virtualization also going to like integrate your GRE IP signal, how going to build, what is the VRF concept, because VRF was also virtualization concept. So VRF lab we have to do in the virtualizations, how router can support the VRF, how we can create the GRE tunnel also, right? How we can configure the VXLAN. So these all are going to part of the virtualization. How we can create the virtual machines, and what are the key concepts of the virtual machines, and infrastructure is a complete routing switching. I'll show you. Network assurance is basically, it's going to give you the troubleshooting skills. If you want to become the good troubleshoot engineer, and you have the very good command how to troubleshoot any issue based on the source IP, based on the destination IP, based on the port number, then this is the going to be game changer for you. And security is going to give the 360 view of the security, means how we can integrate the security on the any branch locations, what are the firewalls, what is the best practice in security, how we can secure my LAN network by nets MACsec or TrustSec, and how my wireless network is going to be secure, how we can integrate my security for the wireless network, and how I can integrate my any next generation firewall, what are the next generation firewall concept, what is IPS, IDS. Those all are theoretical, some are the practicals, but it is going to be part of security. Final is going to be network automations. So network automations is something where you are going to get how to talk my devices. I will show in the lab how to talk my devices by using the JSON script, how to configure the JSON script, how to understand the JSON script, how machine understand the machine learning language, how I can pull the information by using the Python script, or might be the Postman tool. There is a Postman tool where you can just use the different script for the Python and HTTP verbs, and you can pull the data, you can push the data, you can get info from devices, you can talk to devices. So these all are going to part of automations. If I go next, let me show you. So here you can see the architecture is going to be explained. This is all what I explained the very high level. Means you are going to get enterprise network design such as a tier 2, tier 3 fabric, high availability, means what are the HSRP, VRRP, such as the HSRP, SSO, and also wireless technology you are going to get, right? You are going to get centralized distributed controller, less and controller based, cloud based, remote based branch, location based services in WLAN, client density, and also you're going to understand SD-WAN solutions. See, this is the same thing I covered. And what is my control plane, what is my data plane, what is the SD-WAN solutions, what is the SDXS solution, how it is going to look like, how traditional campus like SDN means if I have a campus LAN network, and then how I want to integrate with the SD-WAN. So what is the inter operating system we have, that also going to be covered. You're going to understand about the QS policy. You're going to understand about different feature like safe, cam, tcam, fav, rev, adjacency table. So you think yourself, right? Just think, do you have all this knowledge? If you have knowledge, that's good. if not have knowledge, you have to upgrade yourself, because these are the modern like requirement, and you have to know these all kind of the things. Similarly, the virtualization is there, right? You can understand what is the hypervisor 1, what is the hypervisor 2, what is the virtual machine, what is the virtual switching. This is also very important nowadays. How VRF can be configured, how GRE can be configured, how the IP signal can be built. What is the difference between the GRE and IPsec tunnel? That also we have to understand. Why basically we cannot use the GRE tunnel alone? Why you always require GRE over IPsec? If I am using the IPsec alone, what problem is going to happen? If you have that understanding, that's great. If not, you have to upgrade yourself. And you have to learn about the LIPS and VXLAN. That's the virtualization concept, and I will basically try to explain each and everything in very detail, so you can get every detail in very layman language. And also we are going to talk about the infrastructure, right? In infrastructure we have to understand like static and dynamic trunking protocols, like how we can troubleshoot the ether channel issues. That's the more about the switching, and how we can configure the spanning tree protocol. What is the RSTP, MSTP, and the spanning tree enhanced, such as the root guard and VPD guard. And then we have to come in the routing part. You can see, just compare the routing concept like EIGRP, OSPF, and load balancing method, path selection method, and matrix. No more depth knowledge in the routing. Switching you can do a lot of things, but routing you have the very less thing to do that. So if you are really become the advanced engineer, you have to go for the NRC. This is not going to solve your purpose, just basic knowledge. Now you have to understand how to configure basic OSPF version 2, version 3. What is the neighbor adjacency concept? What is the point-to-point network? What is the broadcast network? What is the passive interface? What is the EBGP? Just verify how EBGP is going to configure, and how you can become the neighbor safe, how path selection algorithm is going to happen, what is the policy based routing, just describe. Now after that you have to learn about the more about the wireless. Means if you're planning to upgrade the good wireless engineer, this syllabus is going to give the good foundations about how the RF going to be, like what is the RF power, what is the RSSAI, what is the SNR, signal to noise ratio, what is the interference, what is the band channel, how we can like design the band and channel, how we can minimize the interference, and also what is the discovery process, how my access point going to join my any WLC. The access point can be work as a standalone mode, and also it is going to work in the flex client mode. Then what is the meaning of that flex client and the standalone mode, how WLC can be deployed in the cloud base or on premises. So those troubleshooting from the CLI and GUI that I will show, because we have the in-house lab also. So I will do the complete AP discovery process. We have the 9800 WLC, and also we have the 9300 access point in our lab. So I will try my best to just showcase everything, how it is going to be integrated. So you guys going to get the good wireless concept during this session. Okay. And we have to understand segmentation, group, and profile. This is the IP services. IP services, because NAT-PAT is a very good concept, and if you don't have the NAT-PAT concept, probably you are going to be a struggle. So always you require the NAT-PAT concept. This NAT-PAT concept is going to be covered, fully covered. And also we have to understand what is the PTP, what is the NTP, what is the HSRP, VRRP concept. You can see this is also cover. Configuration, troubleshoot is going to be 100% cover. I'll show in the lab how VRRP is going to cover, configure and troubleshoot. What is the HSRP concept, how it is going to cover configure and troubleshoot. And also we understand what is the multicast concept. Means if I have to configure the PIM, IGMP protocol, RPF checks. So what is this concept? And we'll try to do labs also, but lab is not integrated. You can see, just you have to understand the fundamental of multicast. CCIE, if you are planning for CCIE, this is going to be cover multicast completely in CCIE. But CCNP in core, you just have to understand what is the key concept of the multicast. Okay. So let's move further. Now we have the network assurance. So as I was discussed, network assurance is basically, it is going to be complete troubleshooting skills. If you want to develop your complete troubleshooting skills, like how to ping, debug, conditional debug, trace route, SNMP, syslog, and net flow, flexible flow, span, rspan, ERSpan, IPSLA, DNS center workflow, netconf, restconf, these all are going to be part of troubleshooting. Trust me. most of you, I can just say in front of everyone, most of you might be going to use the debugs, might be you use the trace out and ping, SNMP, syslog, but might be not going to use the conditional debugs. And you, most of you, you all are not aware about what is the conditional debug. How we can configure the span, ERS span and RS span, how we can configure net flow, flexible flow, how we can get the top talkers. So if you don't have this kind of the skills, you have to learn, and also you have to learn how the IPSL is going to be part of the configuration, how this IPSL is going to be make the conditional troubleshooting based on the even HSRP, VRRP, and other any tracking of the route, how this is going to be very useful. So I will just define these all, and also netconf, restconf, and the DNS center. So we'll discuss all. And security, you can see the local security authentications, authentication and authorization, AAA concept. How we can integrate my AAA server, what is the authorization, accounting, and authentication concept, that is a AAA, and how it is going to be configured on the router and switches, and how it is going to integrate with my any server authentication server like Radius and TechX. ACLs, extended ACLs, extended ACLs, that is going to fully covered. I will explain with the real-time examples how extended ACL can be configured, how extended ACL is going to be configured. What is my scope policy? That is also going to be covered. What is my scope policy? And this is very important, guys. If you want to track any devices for any kind of the like tracking for their like real-time how device is performing, that scope policy is going to be very useful. Just track those all things. And here is a REST API security .1x security, that 802.1x, Bayboth, PSK, EAPOL, right, four-way handshake, how it is going to happen, that all I'm going to cover. And then this is the threat defense, endpoint security, next generation firewall, TrustSec and MACsec, that was discussing what I was talking. And network access control with the 802.1x, MAP authentication, wave authentication, how it is going to happen, that all going to part of the security. And then final, this is the automations. This is going to be new for everyone. How it is going to be new? Because you have to understand the Python script. I will make sure you understand the Python script, how Python script going to be created, and how this script is going to talk to real box, means Cisco devices, and real devices I will show you. And if you want to pull any information, how you can pull that by using the script. How you can validate the JSON encoded file, means any JSON file you have to understand, and you want to validate, or you just want to write the valid JSON file, how you can write it. What is the benefits of the data modeling language, such as the Yang data modeling? What is DNS center? How we can integrate the API? What is my like payload using the Cisco DNS center, and the rest means we have to understand API integration. What is the API? So I will show the API documentations and how we can use the API on the Cisco vManage, Cisco DNS centers, and even we have the API controller on that also. We'll try to see that API. So API concept, REST API, netconf, RESTconf, how it is going to work, and how we can call the different parameters by using the API. That also going to be part of this particular content. And that EMS scripting, that's very useful. And some other concept like data collection, Ansible, salt stack, right? And what is the agent versus agentless orchestration tool, such as the safe puppet? We'll understand that. So this is how the entire module is going to look like. Any question, guys, still here? Because because it's the beginning of the session, I want to give the intro, how the course is going to look like, and what content I'm going to cover. So when I start, we'll start from the architecture, right? And architecture is going to be like how network is going to look like. What is the network architecture? What is the two-tier architecture? What is the legacy architecture? What is the three-tier architecture? How the three-tier legacy architecture look like? Then how leaf and spine architecture come in a picture? What other architecture, wireless architecture is going to look like? Those I'm going to cover. All right. So if any question, please feel free to ask. Now, why basically Gwinnett Technologies? So basically, very important, when you're going to be register for this course, definitely you are going to be get 24/7 lab. That one lab, EVNG-based lab, is going to be there. I'll provide that lab access. I'll be there to help you for any query. Let's suppose you're doing the like course with us. Definitely I'll try my best. Whatever query you have, you are going to get that. You are going to get the certificate from our side. That is a private limited company, and that is a MC registered company. So that certificate is going to valid. and you can use anywhere that certificate. You can apply, you can write in CV also. You completed the course from this particular institute, that is going to valid. If you're planning for the Cisco certification, you have money, you can do that also. There is no problem. Job assistant, we always provide a job assistant. Let's suppose you have the community, you are going to join that community. You are going to get regular job update for the network L1, L2, L3 and L4 engineers, even for the higher role as well. So you have to part of the Gwinnett community, and then after you start getting the job updates regular basis. You just have to reach the support numbers and ask, I want to join the Gwinnett community. They will give the link, you can join, and then you are going to start getting jobs and all. Video access, that is going to be lifetime. So the course, whatever we are going to cover, you always going to get a video access, and that access is going to be not 1 year, 6 months, 2 year, 3 year, not like that. It's going to be lifetime. It's your course, always keep with you, right? And this is going to be accessible from the websites URL, www.gwinnett.com or learn.gwinnett.com. There's two URL portal you're going to get from support team. Also, we have the mobile app. You can run the mobile app from the iOS devices or might be the Android devices. Both devices are going to be supported. So you can watch from the iPhones, you can watch this courses from the even Android devices. And that all session, what I'm going to cover is going to be complete live, and I'm going to meet on regular basis. Means I'll be an instructor and I will guide you everything, how to configure, how to troubleshoot and how to operate. So you are going to get one-to-one mentoring directly with me. So you don't have to think anything, I stuck somewhere, I'm not getting any help. So that's all right. And before I just move in the different segment, I would like your view. What do you think? What is your positions in the CCNP? You have any kind of doubt in your mind? So please feel free to ask, guys. आप लोग पूछ सकते हो एनी डाउट इफ यू हैव, लाइक कोई कंफ्यूजन है आपके दिमाग में आ रहा है कि भाई कोर्स कैसे होगा, क्या होगा, टाइमिंग क्या होगा, वो सारी चीज़ बताएंगे आपको. बट अगर कोर्स से रिगार्डिंग किसी तरह का क्वेश्चन इफ यू हैव, यू कैन जस्ट फील फ्री टू आस्क मी. आई विल ट्राई माई बेस्ट टू जस्ट आंसर दोज क्वेरी. एनीवन? I can see a lot of questions coming in the chat, right? Okay, so sorry, somebody asking for the meeting link. You should reach out to support team. There was a number, but right now I cannot share. Alright, thanks. Someone said 300-415. That is a Cisco SD-WAN solution link. That's correct. That's absolutely right. Alright, good. Any other questions anyone have for today class, today sessions? I know it's an intro session, but if you have any questions, any kind of the query in your mind, please feel free to ask. If no, so what we will do that, we'll plan another session, and on that session, I will start directly with the topic and we'll start doing a discussion how basically we can understand the architecture of the next generation networking. That's the 2-tier architecture, 3-tier architecture. This topic we are going to discuss. Let me show you. This topic we are going to discuss, because difference between the design principle using the enterprise network means high level enterprise network design, such as the 2-tier architecture, 3-tier architecture and the fabric architecture. This is the topic we are going to cover in the day 1 class. Means when the next class is going to happen, so you guys are going to understand what is the collapse core, how the collapse core can be designed, what is the problem with the collapse core, how my 2-tier architecture is going to look like, and how I can design my 3-tier architecture. What is the benefit of 3-tier architecture, and why 2-tier collapse core and 3-tier architecture become a legacy, why we start using the fabric architecture, that is the leaf and spine architecture. So this concept I am going to put in very detailed, right? So you understand the design principle, because end of the day, if you want to become the hybrid engineer, you should know the design principles. If you don't know the good design principle, probably you're going to be struggle. High availability techniques means what are the FHRP? FHRP have the 3 family, that is the VRRP, that is the HSRP and the GLBP. So what is the GLBP? What is the HSRP? What is the VRRP? Those concepts I'll like configure. I will test in the lab and I will show you all in front of you so you can understand. Also, what is the SSO? Means if you're using the any modular switch edge and router, they use the RP. So how they can do the failovers if one is going down, one other is going to be take the role. and again going to come back, then it is going to. So this is the network. This is going to wired network design, and then we have to launch, means the session, that second session is going to be your wireless network design. Means after wired, how the wireless network is going to design, means what is the wireless deployment principle, centralized, means how we can make the WLC based wireless design. I will explain, and then distributed controller-based, cloud-based controller and AP and all. So I hope that's all for today. If no question, I'm good, and let's meet the next class and we'll continue from here.
क्लास का टाइम क्या रहेगा?
कार्तिक हम बताएंगे आपको, ठीक है, जल्दी क्लास का टाइमिंग. Probably if this timing is going to happen, then 3 day in a week class is going to be happen. और कोई अगर 7 बजे का स्लॉट आता है या 7:30 का, दैट वी आर गोइंग टू अपडेट यू. बट इवनिंग में होगा क्लास 100%. ठीक है कार्तिक.